Hello and happy Tuesday evening to all. Welcome into the PHLY Eagles podcast After Dark, live from the Xfinity Mobile Studios from the Hoffman and Lynch Estates. Hope everybody's having a great Tuesday out there. Thanks for hopping in the channel. Jamie Lynch with you. Rich, we watched episode 6 of HBO's Hard Knocks tonight, and we're going to go through some of the live reactions and reliving the glorious Week 17 ball drop by the Birds. And
week 18, technically, James.
Excuse me, week 18, yeah.
Their 17th game, week 18. It's ridiculous. I'm still on a 16-game schedule, but you know.
Well, the San Diego Padres, the San Diego Chargers still play in San Diego in my mind, and the Houston Astros are still in the National League in my mind. So there's a lot of things you just can't get over in life. But happy Tuesday to everybody. Thanks for hopping in here. Hit that like and subscribe button, and if you're in here, before we get started, Rich, I do want to let the people know if this is your first time ever checking out PHLY, obviously like and subscribe to the channel. That's free. But if you want to get a free piece of merch for the playoffs, unlocked writing to awesome writers in town, if you want to get the Fran Duffy Complete NFL Draft Guide, an invite to our Discord, and so much more. Right now, we're having a sale for the Birds, back again in the playoffs. $36 intro offer. It's $44 off. That's $36 for the entire year, plus a free shirt, plus free writing. We're giving the stuff away, so it's a great time to consider joining with us and becoming a diehard at PHLY. All right, Rich, let's get into tonight's episode. It kicked off. I do have to admit something. I started episode 5, so I watched the first 15 minutes of last week's that I missed, and I was texting somebody oh, I think I'm on last week's because I think I've seen this clip online already. So then I had to kind of speed up through, so I accelerated through. I believe the Giants at first. Yeah,
the Giants sections you didn't need.
I didn't care. I didn't care at all. So it picked up with the Birds. With Tanner McKee mania in the locker room. The Big Oaf quarterback had his moment in the HBO spotlight. He's a little bit of a Big Oaf, isn't he? He looks like a super nice guy, but
yeah.
That hat is awful. Just burn it, dude. Just burn it.
That was not a good hat. And then
not a good hat.
They showed Nick Sirianni, and he's giving his weekly speech in the auditorium. And I was always curious how they did this, James. And he basically is like, we have 3 buckets of players here. Some guys who are ready to play and dressed, but you're not going to play. You're in the middle. Some guys who will play a little bit, but on a pitch count. We're going to get you in and out of there. And then some guys who were just out. And I don't know. I thought that was interesting. He kind of just told the team, we have 3 buckets of guys who are resting, and then everybody else is going to play. And that's it.
So since Bo Wolf isn't with us tonight, to speak for him, which bucket would A.J. Dillon fall in?
I didn't even think about that. So, I mean, the way the game played out, he was in some guys who will play but will get you out of there pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I think actually the way he was prepared to play was, no, you're just playing. You're in the 4th bucket of guys. You're just playing. But it was only 2 snaps, and their defensive line. Them not showing Ty Robinson gassed at the end of the game because A.J. Dillon was on the roster was a big miss by HBO, I got to say.
Yeah. So we're talking about the finale, and then it went to Nick Sirianni talking about his superstitiousness on the sidelines. And Rich, I was unaware that getting field goal blocks is as simple as just asking your special teams coordinator, Michael Clay, can we get a block here? He seems to be 2 for 2, a perfect record.
Jamie, that was fascinating. And then the other thing that I was thinking is, does he ask that every single time to Michael Clay?
Yeah.
Clay, can we block this one? What if Michael Clay was like, nah, we can't.
We're just
going to make the kick.
Man. Yeah. His batting average is actually sub 100 on asking that question.
Hey, the Eagles have done well blocking kicks this year, and Jalen Carter. I wish they had Jalen Carter mic'd up for the fish. That whole element. Like we could have gone into Joe Panunzio and all that stuff, but Yeah, no. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, and then it transitioned into Jordan Davis, and a man that certainly deserves some shine this year. I thought the Jordan Davis stuff was really cool. Him telling the story about going to the same restaurant and a waiter being like, "Oh, look at this picture from 2023," and him being like taken aback at his own appearance and seeing the physical difference and the transformation he's had in 2 years. I think I even forgot, like, wow, how much this guy has come from. Like, he looks like a different person. He said he's dropping the sweets. He talked about his diet. Clint Hurt comes on the screen and talks about all the work he's put in. It was really cool to kind of see Jordan Davis get his glow up there.
Jordan Davis got his, you're right. He got the glow up and he got the promotional video for about 4 minutes, just showing the glow up, but he deserves it. And he's played great all year. This has been his best season. I thought it was really cool to hear Clint Hurt both interact with him on the practice field, but also just talk, in the auditorium, doing the one-on-one, saying, yeah, I mean, the guy is just completely grown up. The one thing I was thinking about, though, Jamie, is that I always think with football, particularly with linemen, the idea of getting skinny, that's like a tough balance, right? Because Jordan Davis, in general, is still a massive human being, and you need him to be a massive human being to be the player that the Eagles need. But it's clear that whatever that tough balance is between staying huge and being a monster against the run and getting rid of all of those sweets, he's certainly found that balance. And that's been probably one of the coolest stories of this Eagle season so far.
Yeah, he said, I want to be sexy too. I want to look good.
I want to look sexy and skinny.
No. The other thing we learned about Jordan Davis, he's got some pipes on him, Rich. He can sing. We're going to have to get him on the Christmas album, or has he already?
I think he might have been on the Christmas album. Although I will say, if he was on the Christmas album before, it's like, man, he's not playing that well. Like, does he deserve to be on the Christmas album? But he certainly does. Yeah, he's got some great pipes. And also shout out to Allie Love and the whole Peloton crew for getting him over the finish line too. So
Allie Love was in my top 3 when I was a Peloton regular.
Oh yeah, who else?
Emma Lovewell #1, Alex Toussaint 2nd. And then Allie Love's classes just kicked my ass. She was always 3rd.
All right. Well, they kicked Jordan Davis's ass because he got in great shape watching her. So, yep.
Yeah. And by the way, it crossed my mind watching Clint Hurt to Jordan Davis one-on-one in the NovaCare Center there. Is that the 2 biggest back-to-back just men that have ever been interviewed in the history of Hard Knocks? Because those 2 took up the entire screen. Massive units.
Clint Hurt is a unit, as the kids say. I always call him the defensive line coach, just because it looks like, honestly, he could just put on the pads and play. But yeah, that is a big boy.
Yeah. And then it went to the defensive line team dinner in my old neighborhood in Queen Village, a place called Alice at 9th and Christian. Rich, have you ever eaten there? I have not, actually.
I have not. I've been by there a lot, right near the Italian market, though. Good to see that. And it's funny, James. Like in Philly, there's a lot of these very nice restaurants that are on the corner they're pretty small. And when the whole Eagles defensive line gets in there, like they're probably taking up 3/4 of the restaurant. Honestly, they had this huge table. You had BG sitting there with sweats. Enjoyed the whole scene. I'm sure you're about to bring up the guy who sort of stole the show during that scene.
Yeah, I think the Jalen Phillips conversation about the Jesus versus Marvel / Stan Lee quote was pretty damn funny. He thought it was an old Bible quote. It turns out it's a Spider-Man Uncle Ben Stan Lee original line. That was a pretty funny scene. Yeah,
I didn't know what he meant by Uncle Ben until he said that comes from Marvel. That comes from Spider-Man's uncle. He said, I told my girl that was from the Bible. Stan Lee was dropping bombs. So really, really enjoyable stuff from Jalen Phillips. He also, by the way, Jalen Phillips, I enjoyed earlier in the episode when he and Nick Sirianni were talking on the practice field, and he was like, man, this will be great if he said, if we get a home playoff game, which they already had clinched the home playoff game part. And Nick was like,
details.
Yeah, we've had a bunch of those. This is probably like our 7th. We, honestly, listening to you, we probably take it for granted a little bit around here. So it's cool to see. I like Jalen Phillips.
Yeah.
Also,
and
Jalen Phillips. Yeah. Go ahead. You're about
Cat
to say.
Guy.
Cat guy. So Julia's producing tonight, and Julia's one of the few people who has dipped their toes in both the cat and the dog ownership. Yeah.
I was a previous both guy. While living in South Philadelphia, we had a cat adopt us at our back door one day. Never thought I was going to be a cat guy. She got along with our rescue dog, Bootsy, and I became a both guy. So I like cats more than I thought I ever would. I'll say that. But I was always a dog guy my whole life.
I'm a cat guy, and I think Jalen Phillips, he said it perfectly. It's easy. It doesn't take a lot of work.
Easier.
All you got to do, feed it, change the litter, all that stuff. That's pretty much it. Take it for a checkup every once in a while. Very self-sufficient animals. Not as much work as having to walk the dog around the block. So for that reason, I agree. Jalen Phillips, love to see it.
An athlete for sure. And then Rich, we got to see something, and this is why I love Hard Knocks. I don't think I'd ever really heard Jeff Stoutland talk much. I've read his interviews. I've heard a couple snippets here and there, but I've never really heard him or seen any behind-the-scenes footage of him. And it was very cool to see Jeff Stoutland talking to his offensive line room. And I think he called out Drew Kendall, the rookie, and he was like, Drew, what do I tell you every day? He's like, you got to be literally delusional. You got to prepare as if you're starting the game this weekend. This is how guys become great. They prepare like they're playing. I thought it was a really cool thing to be like, you literally have to be delusional to play for me.
I feel like that's going to be a motivational quote for a lot of people. Now, I love that. You got to be actually delusional as a way to motivate somebody who has no chance of playing, but you got to prepare like you are going to play. I definitely enjoyed that from Jeff Stoutland. Stan Lee, not the only one dropping bombs in the episode.
And then it kind of buzzed through the NFC East, and it's funny. Well, not funny, but it's crazy to look back in hindsight being 2020, seeing all 3 defensive coordinators end up getting fired, and it's just like Uncle Vic left standing at the top of NFC East Mountain. He destroyed the entire conference.
Yes, all of those guys are gone. Cliff Kingsbury also gone, and
Jeez.
I mean, it just crazy that the Eagles are they're the ones left standing, and it felt like at the beginning of the year they were going to be the best team, but as we know in the NFC East, the whole back-to-back thing for them to struggle a little bit through the year, and even when they won, it wasn't always the prettiest, but to easily win the NFC East, life is good for Eagles fans.
As Billy Bob Joe says in the chat, Jordan Mailata, Jeff Stoutland University.
I also got a kick, by the way, real quick. I also got a kick out of Mailata and Cooper DeJean as the scout team guys last week. Cooper DeJean is like a receiver running routes. It looked like Jordan Mailata was rushing the passer, which I'm sure he was, preparing the offensive lineman or whatever. I did get a kick out of that.
Yeah. Then we got to the game footage. Not a ton to take away from it. My 2 big takeaways were, man, Devontae Smith is so smooth. That catch that McKee threw up to him that got him the record. There's very few guys in the NFL that can make that catch. To just glide backwards through the hash marks where potential contact and a double team is, to high point a ball, to land as gracefully as he did. He's so smooth. That kid is just absolutely going to be one of the all-time great Eagle wide receivers. Already is, but he is just special.
I also thought Sirianni screaming at him on the first one where, he catches the hitch and the defensive back is about 5 yards away from him. And he did what you would normally do in a regular season game, which is kind of run over the guy and try and get as many yards you can. And Nick is screaming at him, get out of bounds, man. We're just trying to get you over 1,000 yards here. We're trying to do this in the easiest way possible. And you kind of saw it after he did get the 1,000 yards after making that graceful catch as well. Nick has a very good relationship with, I think, both Devontae and AJ. And I know AJ kind of gave Nick the side eye in that tunnel video against the Bills a few weeks ago. But it just seems like, they're the guys who dumped Gatorade on Nick. I don't know if it's because that, Nick is a wide receivers coach. That's sort of where he came from. And maybe he's worked with those guys a lot, or they just like him as a dude. It seems like he connects with those two people. Nice moment between those two guys.
Yeah, and the only other takeaway I had from the game footage was Keely Ringo. Tremendous special teams player, but rewatching that play of Josh Johnson's touchdown now several times, woof, that's a tough look.
Keely Ringo, I will say, and he's probably the number one guy, but also Jacorian Bennett as well. They were fortunate that Hard Knocks was sort of buzzing through this week, right? They weren't really focusing on the games too much. They were just trying to get some quarterback highlights and some other footage from the game. So they didn't really get into the details of how the Eagles lost that game. It was a little more frustrating watching it live than watching it back. You're like, yeah, that's fine. It's a nothing loss.
It's all good. And then the only two other notes I had, Rich, were non-Eagle notes. I didn't even realize it happened in the game. That Bobby Wagner got his 2,000th tackle in the league, and there's only 3 people to ever do that. And one of them was his coach, London Fletcher. I thought that was a pretty cool moment in the locker room after the game of London being one of the only 2 men on earth to hand a game ball to now the 3rd man on earth to have over 2,000 tackles in the NFL. That was pretty cool.
London Fletcher was the Washington middle linebacker for forever. And when he was giving that speech, you're right. I didn't know that Bobby Wagner broke that record. But when London Fletcher was giving the speech, and I was like, okay, yeah, they flash his name up on the screen. I'm thinking like London Fletcher probably is one of those other 2 guys. Like he just played a lot. He had a ton of tackles. And I got to say, that was pretty cool. That said, not the best Bobby Wagner thing from the episode. I don't know if you were buzzing through during this part. Did you see the Bobby Wagner discussion about The Martian?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so go back after the episode. You'll enjoy it. This is probably the one thing that you missed that's worth it. He's talking in the linebackers room, and he's talking about how he was on a plane once, and he missed the moment when a flight attendant comes by with all the headphones to watch the in-flight entertainment. And for some reason, he was like, I just missed the person. Now he probably could have flagged down this flight attendant and asked for the headphones. Like they're pretty good with, okay, yeah, here. Yeah. Take some more. So he said that the person next to him was watching the movie The Martian with Matt Damon on the screen. And he said he watched the whole movie just through that person's screen with no subtitles or anything. And he said, it was a good movie. I really enjoyed that experience. And I don't want to watch the movie again because it'll ruin it for me because I enjoyed that experience so much.
What?
It was wild. The other 2 guys in the linebacker room were like, wait, so you didn't like know what anybody was saying in the movie? So good Bobby Wagner episode overall, because that was out there. And look, as somebody who's on planes, and if you're on an aisle seat, you look over at the person in the aisle seat, the row ahead of you, see, hey, what's that person watching or whatever. I might do that for like 2 minutes. Okay, they got Anchorman on or
nuts
or something like that. But like, I'll put on my own entertainment after that. Yeah, it's crazy. He was so satisfied with watching The Martian, but not understanding anything that was said.
Good for Bobby Wagner. And then the last one I just noted, it sure looked like Jerry Jones's handler as he was getting ushered out of the stadium of another losing season. It looked like his handler was carrying his gold, metal gold trimmed purse. And I think Jerry Jones is a purse guy.
A man purse.
Not even a satchel, like a beautiful lady's purse.
Hey, look, I didn't know Jerry gets down like that, but hey, like it doesn't surprise me. He's eccentric man
in 2025. Yeah.
No, not at all, not at all. And hey, look, Jerry's a wealthy guy. So I'm sure if he does want a purse, he's gonna make sure it's blinged out.
It's a nice one, so, yeah. But yeah, that was pretty much it from tonight's episode. Now, Mr. Bo Wolf does tell me he believes there's going to be another episode where they focus on the Eagles in the playoffs. That is not confirmed, That was just some awesome office gossip today. I don't know if HBO has announced that or not, but I guess that means the cameras are still around. So, will you watch an episode if the Eagles lose next Tuesday night?
It's a great
'Cause
point.
I think I'm out.
I think the answer is no, because there's nothing worse than an Eagles playoff loss. You just kind of want to log off for a few days. Now, I will say it was much harder 20 years ago at this point, when they're making all of those NFC championship games, and we hadn't won one yet, Jamie.
Yeah.
So it's a little easier now. You got two in your back pocket.
The pain isn't the same anymore.
You got one last year. I'm not like, when I was a kid, some of those earlier losses, it's like I'm not watching SportsCenter for 3 days minimum. Like I got to be off the grid. So it's a little bit different this time. Am I going to watch Hard Knocks though? Maybe that's like a summer project for me. It's a good point. But if they win and it's week by week, I will absolutely watch that. And the other thing I will say, James, is that I really enjoyed the end when they were showing the other three teams like in the montage. And I was like, oh, I know what they're doing. They're saying their season is over, and they're football men and they're lifers and they'll be back. But the subtext there was they're done. And then they cut to Philadelphia and say, hey, these guys are still going, the champs, and they end with the shot of the lake.
And part of the reason I love Hard Knocks is I just think it's an incredibly produced show. Rich, I don't know how big of a music guy you are, but kudos to the music technical musical director of Hard Knocks. Closed it out with a little War on Drugs, a Philadelphia band in that montage. So I thought that was a nice little chef kiss there for Philadelphia.
To the victor go the spoils.
Damn right. All right. There is a Flyers postgame going on our channel right now. That's it for our reactions to tonight's episode. Hop over and enjoy the Flyers' victory 5-2 over the Anaheim Ducks. Charlie and Bill are live now. Don't forget about that Die Hard offer if you're new to PHLY. We give away a ton of free content. We give away a daily YouTube show. We give away podcasts. We give away all sorts of stuff. But we also have a premium membership. You get a free piece of merch, invite to the Discord, unlocked full content on our website from some of the best writers in the city. $36 for the year, just a little over $3 a month. I promise you it's worth it. Great sale going on now to celebrate the Birds back in the playoffs. Thank you to Julia for producing behind the scenes. Rich, thanks for taking some time this Tuesday evening to talk a little Hard Knocks and the Birds. Me and you will be back on the Bird Show this Friday at 2 o'clock. Anthony Gargano tomorrow at 9. Full slate of shows. Make sure you're checking out the channel, liking and subscribing. And thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us tonight. We will see you soon here on the PHLY Eagles podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.